How do you prepare for the biggest event coming that's happening right now? It's actually happening in a very accelerated way with a series of events to create the biggest event transformation of this planet's happening. I'm going to talk about what the biggest event is and how you can prepare for it. If you haven't seen my other video, watch that first, or watch this and go back and watch that, because I'm talking about what's coming up here shortly. I'm talking about 2024 and beyond. But how do you prepare for it? This may surprise you. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. The biggest event that's happening is the changing of the guards. What does that mean? We are now seeing the old school programming of egos and the old way of living, have never known anything else, continuing to try and control the planet, are now going to start to step aside because, well, a lot of them are getting older. It's how we used to live. It was ego-based, and we have a new spiritual movement. And by the way, I'm not talking about young or old here. We have a new spiritual movement of empowerment called the Great Awakening. What is that? We're waking up to the fact that we just aren't human bodies here that are controlled by a material world and other egos, and that when we raise our frequency, we have powers undescribable to human beings that we all know exist. And now we're tapping into that, and it's not so cray-cray. How do you go into that big event that's happening right now? Because we have plenty of time, but you have to act right now to start down the road of the transformation that is going to take you to something pretty amazing. How do you prepare for this biggest event ever? Well, the biggest event is that we are now going into the tipping point in an accelerated manner. Series of events and shifts, DNA, all this other stuff. And now, as individuals, we were shifting. We are now, as a collective, starting to shift over. Now, it's not going to be everybody. Some people think that the world is getting worse, but there's a huge percentage that know that that's not the case, because they're going to participate in the world that has transformed into that state of empowerment where all things are possible, where healing takes place at a moment's notice, when you realize you can control your body, your reality, and how you contribute, and that we are one, we're all connected, and that nothing's a coincidence, and that you can learn from everything and see it as a positive event instead of something horrible that happens to you. And when you master it, you go into a state of euphoria because you realize nothing can take away your power. You always have been, you always will be. And you are taking place in the biggest event ever on the planet Earth's matrix history. This illusion we decided to participate in as a school. We have gone to a point, we have come to a point together that is so positive and beautiful, and there's a very huge percentage of people that are going into the state of awakening, knowing this, and living it here on planet Earth. And so what is that? Now, how do we prepare for it? It is actually an empowerment, taking control, zero tolerance, but in peace. And zero tolerance means I'm not going to accept this and participate in it anymore. I'm going to create something new and peaceful and beautiful. And you can just sit over here and, try and do all this stuff all you want. But we're over here creating new ways to be healthy, to celebrate our planet and take care of her, to be community that takes care of one another, to live dream lives that we've always wanted to, instead of doing things that are unhealthy for the planet but saying we have to earn a living. You guys know this. You've seen it. I point at this every video. I'm giving you tools to manifest anything in your life on a level that you desire to, and that is one that feels really good, purposeful, and it brings joy or laughter or art or creativity or whatever it is you do. You're important. I shared with you before, if you look at a little dot, you just see a dot. What is this? And then the more you back up, you see a whole picture. But it takes every one of those dots to create that perfect, beautiful, cohesive picture. And that's what we are. You and I are the dot. We're important. these events happening, this biggest event, which is all of these things changing, a series of events and shifts in every area of our lives that doesn't work, from finance to health to governments to everything, all shifting into a completely different way of functioning because we are saying we don't accept the other anymore. And then we're not saying we're going to revolt or battle this or oppose. We're over that. We're over opposition. We're going into community, participation, collaboration, understanding, and celebrating diversity, and knowing that our differences are what make us so beautiful. And so when we go into a lower state of being, we have to go into no tolerance and say we will not participate or function in that manner. There has to be a solution to this, because these people that function on that level come from fear. Because the ego's afraid of losing things. It wants control. It wants what it wants in a material world, and it tries to control that. That's what is shifting right now. So this biggest event on planet Earth is that we're going into a new, completely different way of life. It's happening pretty quickly, actually. If you notice accelerating, it's a tipping point. How do you prepare for it? It's not, okay, I want you to think about this. It is not coming from ego. It's not protecting myself, running away, hoarding, preparing for the worst. That's the opposite. That's the old guard. The old guard will do that, by the way. They can fortify themselves all they want, but the problem with that is we're all leaving the planet at some point here soon, right? We all end our roles here as human beings, so what good is that? It's how you conduct yourself here that's going to count. Are you conducting yourself as one in service to others and using your powers and creating an amazing, beautiful reality for yourself, right? You're meant to enjoy this beautiful planet and experience. The preparation I'm talking about is starting to live the ideal life. That means going into a simpler, healthier lifestyle, transforming everything in your life that is unhealthy for the planet, for others, repairing the relationships. In other words, if you have been in conflict with those that you are close to, things that you obviously can't just step away from, then you have to go into a state of collaboration and understanding and respect for one another. You don't have to convince anybody of anything, all right? And you don't participate in the conflict and the arguments that others might want to create, all right? That's zero participation. Non-tolerance is, I'm not going to allow certain things to go on. What is the solution for that? Instead of me, waving my flag that you're wrong and evil, I'm going to say, why is this happening? And so whole communities are saying, we have to be there for people who are bullied or discriminated against, or who are on the streets who, we're going to stop judging that and say, how does that happen? There's another way. And if it's their choice, that's great, but so many don't choose these things. It's part of how we function, and our society, as the foundations have created a lot of struggle that doesn't have to be there. How do you want to live? You have to start living it right now. So you guys have seen this. A lot of you, if you want retreats, homesteads, go off grid, but you want to do it in a way that's inclusive. Let's say you want to create gardens and have people come stay and work on the property that you don't have to pay, and they get to eat for free and stay there. That's what's going on here. We have people in those communities that actually are bringing homeless people in, giving them jobs and giving them parameters, right? Solutions now. So if you want a place, then here's what you have to do. You'll earn it. So it's sort of like a barter kind of system. Different way of functioning that we haven't been, not as a collective. How do you want to function? Where do you want to live? How do you want to live your life? Are you in a job that you can't stand? You guys know that I got out of investment banking 8 years ago. It was going to kill me. It was not a healthy way of life. And that's part of the old guard that's dissolving. Nobody wants to live like that anymore. It's not an honest place to be. It's a lower frequency because it's all about just me and my stuff. You can have your stuff. You can have abundance. You can have all these things. In fact, you'll have it on a level that's so healthy, and it's going to simplify your life. How much stuff do you really need? You can have amazing luxuries, but we don't have to go to these extremes that are out of balance. So start living your life now. Are your relationships in balance? Do you have to change some relationships? Do you have to walk away from some friendships? Because some people are just going to choose to stay in that world where they want to watch, the conspiracies and the negative media, and they want to complain and take sides. And, I see, I'm out there in the world where people are dating, and they say, I won't date you if you believe this, or if you vote for so-and-so. I'm like, how sad is it to live that way, like if you don't think or believe the way I do. So you have to walk away from those situations because you're not going to change their mind. All right, so what do you have to separate yourself from to allow them to be who they are and not judge them and walk away, but to allow them to go ahead and be separate, but be separate with your groups that are going to be in the basement, all down there, in the dark, in the mold. You can't see the light, and you guys are all together. That's where you want to be. But you don't have to participate in that. So you go up to the penthouse. It's beautiful up there. But you got to work on staying up there, right? That champagne just doesn't show up on its own. And so we have to go in the gardens and create, grow the grapes, and it's beautiful. That process is beautiful. So I want you to start living the process if you choose to go into what they call the new world, which isn't really a new world at all. It's the transformation into what we can be, what exists right now for you. So start planning for it and living it right now. I'm doing it myself, all right? And so I'm thinking, what are my options? How can I shift my businesses to be of service out here? I'm creating more courses for people so they can stay on track. You guys have seen this, Breakthrough Fear. I have a free 1-hour master class. 4 proven steps. How do you manifest the things you desire? Because you're manifesting right now with your thought. It's not when I want something. It's happening 24/7. So you have to say, where are my thoughts? Free mobile app. What am I manifesting? It's been so helpful for a lot of people. And so it's free. Download it. It'll catch those negative thoughts. You have to start working on it right now. You cannot live in that world. You cannot live in that world when the old guard starts to step aside and new things start to happen. There'll still be negativity and people choosing a different pathway. It's not going to go away, but it will for you, because you will understand that they're just choosing to experience that. But we're the solution for the new way of life that we're going into, and congratulations, we are going into it. It's happening right now. And you might feel a little uneasy. Some of you, I said, the roller coaster of being awakened. What does that mean? You're going up and down. We're on a dense planet. We lowered our vibration to come here. So what are you going to do about it? You have to be on it. Know that if you're down there, it's a story. You're telling yourself a story. Nobody's doing it. No, they're not. They aren't doing anything. You are they. You are everything, and everything interacts with you beautifully, exactly the way it should, teaching you. I still have something to work on. I have my family. Yeah, well, I guess you have something to work on. You ain't all that awakened, right? Yeehaw! It's time to start right now living that life. How does the new earth person, even new earth, it's not really a new earth, how does the transformed way of living humans on this beautiful earth, how do we live? So you have to look around your house and start cleaning up your act, your body, what you put into it, what you're using. Get rid of the use of plastics. You have way too many options right now. You have to stop using chemicals. Your body will be cleaner, so you got to clean all this out. You're going to go through stuff. You're going to have negative thoughts. You're going to judge people. It's when you catch it and you recognize it and you don't do anything with it. You don't have to believe it anymore. So you have to start working on all that. Clear it up. Eventually you'll just stop having those thoughts. We are expansive. Did you know the galaxies are moving away from us faster than the speed of light? That means everything's expanding. It never stops expanding, creating, experiencing adventures, and you will too. So if something shows up again and you don't like it, it's an opportunity. I hope you'll come over and check this out. If you're interested in changing your life, getting skills, imagine you could live anywhere. Your whole family could. This is how the old guard dissolves and the new comes in. We don't want to be those people who judge and control and separate and take sides. We don't want to be that. We don't want to be the people that hoard because we're living in fear. I'd rather die starving because I gave my food to somebody else than keeping it for myself and watching others suffer. Yeah, because I can't be destroyed. I'm forever. And if that's how I go out, that would be a glorified way of ending things here. I'm okay with that. You can live your life in fear. You can break through it. Want to learn how to break through it? Come on. You can have a discovery call with me after your free masterclass and see if you want to work with me. We've got all the tools in the world to access that amazing life. It starts today. You're with me? You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.